Good morning, friends. It is April the 1st, 2021. About 11:28 in the morning. And I've just had this wonderful, wonderful time. And I'm walking in the woods and having to dodge things and that are in my path as I'm making this video. But I've just had such a wonderful time this morning in awe of what Father has shown me in His words and in some devotional that I have. I'm not going to be able to remember it all, but I'm going to do my best to try. But it started off with a 6:49 this morning. And that is Psalms 64:9. That is, wow, those are pretty yellow flowers. Where are they from? Oh wow, way up there in that pine tree. Huh, interesting. Huh, anyway. Yellow flowers are all over the ground here. But the vine that they're from is some 50 or so feet up in the air, or more, maybe even 60 feet. Nevertheless, that verse, I first saw it right after the mortgage company or the poultry farm returned all of the money that had been written to them in the form of, I think it was $8,700 in the form of a check. And the next morning, the morning, I don't remember exactly when that check was written, but the morning of August the 21st, okay, it was the lender. I had spoken to the lender and told him that we're not going to be able to pay all the bills that were due, and I think I told him that a few days before, and the day before what I'm about to explain to you happened, there was a conversation between him and I, and he said that he would return the difference of some of the money, but it actually ended up being they returned not only all of the money that the check was written for, but $649 and I think 29 cents, and that hit that checking account for that poultry farm on August the 21st. And there was just something about the difference that I knew was automatically from God. Wow, what a waterfall over here. But I'm going to try to get down here too. I may try to include it in the video, I'm not sure yet. But I knew that was just too odd of a number for it not to mean something from God in the way that it came about, you know. So the first verse that I looked up was Psalm 64:9. I immediately knew that was the answer, without needing to go any further. And I'll switch this around, or try to anyway, here in a minute. And basically what that verse says is that everyone will fear God after they see all the miracles that He's done. And you know, what a miracle that was that day. But that number showed up in a way that, you know, it's hard to explain how it happened this morning. There's a piece of paper on the floor in the closet of the cabin. And if you hear that loud noise, that's the waterfall that I'm walking up to right now. But I'm seeing all this water come down and go. It's really, really pretty, but loud. I'll have to let you look at it. That's pretty cool. If I can hop off of here without being too loud and so forth. We've had a lot of rain here over the course of the last few days. Yesterday and the night before was just rain without letting up. I'm talking big time rain. So this is the runoff from that, obviously. But anyway, so that showed up this morning, and you know, that led me to a lot of different things this morning. And I know that sun is in the background and kind of washing out this video, but I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, it's just absolutely amazing that even though we're sometimes in our deepest despair in life, that we can be in, or what feels like it's in, because that's the newest thing that's going on in our lives, at the present time. And that is pretty much the, I haven't seen my girls that I've mentioned many times in videos since March 18th of 2020. And, while that is very, very difficult to deal with, also dealing with what now is me not getting paid for work that I've done on this poultry farm that I have been working on since February of 2016, and I haven't gotten paid since May the 10th of 2020. So, the whole thing of not getting paid is somewhat stressful on its own. Then when you multiply me not getting to be able to see my girls and them see me in person, that the court has ordered, because that's what my ex-wife asked for to happen. It's just quite interesting that it's really muddy right here. It's quite interesting that God allowed that for a time of persecution of me and my family and so forth. And I'm fixing to try to climb this hill that's quite steep, so I'm gonna probably get out of breath pretty quick. I see that as a major trial, kind of like Job went through, when all in one day all of his livestock disappeared, his children were all killed at one of their siblings' houses. Wind, I think, blew the house down on top of them, and his wife thought he had done something to anger God here, and that's what it appears to most people in my situation as well, is that I've done something wrong in God's eyes, therefore I'm being punished. And although it looks that way, God has continued to confirm to me that's not the case. Whew. This is a pretty good hill that I'm climbing. So, with that being said, to make your hips burn. So with that being said, that's pretty. Whew. Sorry for the bad camera stuff here, guys, but my goodness, that hill will get you. Oh, man. Anyway, let's see if I can figure my way out of here. Well, it kind of is just very interesting that all that's happened. So, plus, I'm 2 days before my driver's license may be going to get revoked because of not being able to pay child support for the last 6 or 7 months since August of 2020, because I've got no income. It's and the company that I work for has recently filed bankruptcy, and not sure when I'm going to get paid at this point. So there's today and tomorrow, because today's Thursday, and tomorrow would be I think day 60, which was the time that I've been given to reply back to the child support services of the state of Alabama. And I've just not had the peace to do that this whole time. I don't know why. It's just been pretty interesting, and I read my devotionals this morning, and 3 of the 4 talk about things about Jesus being an intercessor on our behalf. And it's funny that those devotionals are today, April the 1st, and Sunday is the day, which is April the 4th. Sunday is the day that most Christians will celebrate Jesus' resurrection. So it's being April the 1st. I think it's like 42 degrees or 43 degrees, but it feels like in the upper 30s because of the wind that's blowing, and you can probably hear it in the background, as I'm speaking here. That it's just really loud, and it's almost like it's very strange that the wind is blowing as hard as it is, which is probably 15 miles an hour plus on today, of where God has just been with me so much that it's just so much I can't even explain because it's too detailed. But yesterday shows me, after reading those devotionals, I sent I sent all of them to my wife, but the last one I sent was about Christ interceding for us. And I sent it at, I believe, at 10:06 or something like that, maybe something like that. But anyway, I've been seeing 106. I saw it like 3 or 4 times yesterday, and I was looking up scripture with that, and I get to Daniel chapter 10 verse 6, and this is where the angel comes to him and tells him that I've been trying to get to you for 21 days to tell you that God's heard your prayers, and that the answer has been coming the minute that you prayed. And the Prince of Persia had stopped him, and he had to battle the Prince of Persia to be able to get the answer to Daniel, which is a form of intercession, in the Old Testament. And it's just interesting that I send that devotional about intercession to my wife with a 106 in the time, and that makes me think of Daniel 10:6, which is about that particular passage that I'm speaking about. And I get up from the table because it's just cold in the cabin. We've got a wood heater there that we can warm up. I didn't start it up last night, but I decided to go ahead and do it after I read that and opened up the door to the wood heater, and there's something in there. I thought it was a piece of wood there for a minute, but I turned the light on my phone, and it's actually a dead bluebird. Not one, but 3. And it's interesting that I looked up the biblical / spiritual meaning of bluebirds, and it means joy and happiness. And it's almost like God is forewarning me this morning that my joy and happiness is going to go away. But the number of bluebirds in there indicates to me that there's going to be a resurrection of me and my joy and peace and happiness. And I find this quite interesting, that I'm just now thinking about as well. The last 2 days I've been very concerned about contacting child support services about not being able to pay. And I've had just this bad pain in my neck last 2 days that I've woken up, and just a headache all day yesterday, and didn't rest very, very well those 2 days. But this morning, I woke up just after 5 o'clock, I believe, something. But the pain in my neck is gone. And my headache that I had all day yesterday is gone. And I find that just extremely interesting, with what's happened today, and also my crick in my neck, basically, and what God's revealed to me through my devotionals and reading His Word, and several things that's been on my heart lately. And then seeing those 3 dead bluebirds in the woodheater, and the only way they can get in there is from outside. And I don't really know how they do that, because there's a cover over that thing on the outside, which shouldn't allow them to come in at all. But nevertheless, they were in there. And today being April the 1st, and the day that we celebrate Jesus' birth, not birth, but resurrection, is in 3 days, or on Sunday, which is 3 days from now. The 3rd, the 4th, well, today's the 1st, and the day is Sunday would be the 4th, which is 3 days from now, if you don't count today, I believe. Well, the morning of, so it'd be roughly 3 days. And I just find that just so fascinating that, even though I stand here in the woods listening to this wind howl like crazy, and it's coming out of the north, when things happen in the Bible, it talks about the armies that defeat Israel come out of the north a lot of times. And I see this coming out of the north here today. And it's just really, really strong wind. And I don't know. I'm not hurting. I'm not upset. I'm not anything but just kind of in awe at how God has spoke to me this morning, and just kind of giving me a peace about, no matter what happens, Jesus even had to die a physical death to be able to fulfill the prophecies that God has wanted and uses in His life, and the way that He reveals Himself is as an individual we come to know who He is, you know, because even Jesus, the one that died for us, this is kind of funny. Half of the people believed Him and half of the people didn't. You know, well, not half of the people, but believed Him, but people did believe Him, and a lot of them didn't. So just kind of interesting how today is kind of unfolded. Not anywhere near what I anticipated, but I just praise God for revealing these insights to me. And you know, I mean, what's the chances of all of this happening the way it is? You know, maybe I'll make another video or blog about this at a later time when I can put some pictures together that would make more sense to everyone, and how He has revealed these things to me today. But you know, there's going to be a resurrection for me and my girls and my family. You know, and I hadn't even said anything about this, but my sister and brother-in-law basically told me in not so many words that they don't want to hear what I've got to say about God, because it's not the way they believe. You know, and my I think he's 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old nephew, probably 3 or so weeks ago, asked my sister if I was dead, and I'm just going, wow. Even my 3 or 4 year old nephew sees that I'm dead to them, you know. And it's just amazing. And I see that, and that my sister contacted me again this morning, and I don't know why, but God has just shut that door down where He doesn't want me to reply back to her. For some reason, I can't figure that out. You know, I love them to death, but I got to listen to what God tells me more than loving my family, my kids, you know, my wife, or anybody. And you know, that's hard to wrap your head around sometimes, of why God allows these things to happen. But He does. And it doesn't make sense when it's going on, but sometimes He reveals it later, or sometimes He doesn't at all. But you know, nevertheless, you know, I know that I'm doing what God is wanting me to do right now. It's just a matter of, you know, am I about to get crucified by the court, by child support, through this bankruptcy, or, you know, there's many, many, many things that I could speculate on, but I'm not going to do that. You know, there's something about those bluebirds that is just, that wasn't by chance that I saw 3 bluebirds in this wood heater that I was about to light, you know, and it being right before we celebrate Jesus's resurrection. I just think that's awesome. You know, I don't know what the meaning is as of yet, but, you know, God will reveal it to me at some point, hopefully. If not, you know, that's okay too. So I guess that's all I got for now. Well, I'd like to add one more thing. This really, really strong wind may be an indication, because this has happened one other time. I'm trying to remember when it was. It was in the fall of 2020, somewhere in September or October, I believe, where my wife and I, Michelle, were walking up the hill after checking the chicken houses early one morning. It's probably 7:30 or so, something like that. And the wind was lightly blowing, and then all of a sudden it starts howling. I actually made an audio recording of it, of that event. And when I was making the audio recording of it, it starts howling again. And, it was, her and I were talking about something that was going on in our lives, and it was almost like God said, yep, that's the answer, through the howling of the wind, and God revealed that morning, I believe, just before we had actually gone and walked to check the chickens that day. I can't remember exactly where it is. It seems like it's in First Chronicles, but I'm not sure. That a leader of 30 men came up to David's camp, and David asked if he was friend or foe. And he said a friend, and basically allowed him to fight the battle that they were about to enter, I believe is how it goes. And I've seen that same number as 595, which is the page number of that verse, or the verses that I'm talking about. Wish I could remember it, but I can't remember where it is right now. But nevertheless, I've seen 595 this morning, and it's like this wind is such fierce and it's howling so much that it may be God is sending someone to battle for me, a warrior type person. So I don't know. Could be wrong about that, but that's kind of how it makes me think of at this particular moment. But I thought it was pretty cool of what's happening this morning. I just want to make a recording of it and share it with you guys. At what's been going on. That's all I got now. I'll see you next time.